if you have a BYD environment, okay, and your employees, again, lose their phone, or one day they just decide, unbeknownst to you, or surprisingly to you, they don't want to work there anymore. They're angry at you, they quit, they never show up, you can't contact them again, they have a device. What are you going to do? How are you going to manage that? It's something you need to think about when you're developing these policies. Probably the most common way of handling it, because I talk about two ways of dealing with this situation. But probably the most common way is to decide whether or not you want to have the ability to remotely wipe the device. Okay? You can install software which permits you to do that if it's stolen. Okay? And you know, you can't, I don't even know as an employer you want to worry about tracking it at that point, because there are soft, you know, now that type of stuff's already in place, you know, on some of our phones where you can just track it if it gets lost. But I don't even think you want to worry about that. I think you need to be concerned. You almost have to assume the worst if it's lost or stolen or the employee doesn't show up. That's probably the most common way, and maybe the safest way from a security standpoint that an employer wants to deal with it. But the other way is disabling the integration of the phone. And what that means is sort of just, you know, untethering it, unconnecting it. Okay? Not wiping it, but unconnecting it from your device. That's not nearly as common. Why? Because there may be things on the phone already that your employees keep there. Maybe a tablet that they downloaded something on. They keep it there regularly for work because they use it, they refer to it often. So you disconnect it, fine, the connection stops, no one can tap into your network, but that doesn't do anything about the data information that's already on there. Okay? But that is another, that's something you need to think about when it comes to what happens if it's lost or stolen, you have an employee that quits. You got to be clear about the ownership of the information. Okay? Your information, your data, the employee's information, photos, data, you have to be clear about that. And you can't forget to notify your employees about this. This part in particular, the part about what happens, pardon me, if it's lost or stolen. Because again, if you end up remotely wiping a device and they don't know that you're going to do that, in advance they don't know, you're going to have one unhappy camper on your hands. Okay? If they know in your policy, so that's what we're talking about, the development of the policies, if you go that route. If they know, you put them on notice up front, then they'll think twice about it. They'll think twice about keeping all their personal information there. Okay, they'll migrate it on their home computer as a backup. That's a smart thing for them to do anyway, but not everybody does that. Okay, so you got to put them on notice up front when it comes to this doomsday scenario, because it's the biggest concern of what happens when you have an environment where your employees are connected and something could happen to that information if the device is lost or stolen or the employee is fired. Okay?